Imagine this. You're having a conversation with someone, and something feels off. Their words make sense, but something deep inside you, some primal instinct, whispers, they're not telling the truth. Lies are not just words, they are distortions of reality. And when reality is distorted, chaos follows. A lie is an attempt to manipulate the world in a way that it does not naturally bend. And sooner or later, reality pushes back. If you fail to recognize deception, you risk being controlled, misled, and even betrayed. But if you train yourself to see the cracks, to identify the 6 signs of lying, you arm yourself with the most powerful tool there is, the ability to see truth where others are blind. Truth is the foundation upon which stability rests. The moment you step into deception, whether as the liar or the one being lied to, you enter a world of uncertainty, a world where reality is bent and reshaped in unnatural ways. Lies do not exist in isolation. They ripple outward, distorting relationships, corroding trust, and leaving behind a trail of disorder. When someone lies to you, they are introducing an element of chaos into your life. They are taking what should be a stable, predictable interaction and injecting it with confusion. That's why people feel uneasy when they suspect a lie. It's an instinct, a deeply embedded survival mechanism that tells you something isn't aligning, that reality and words are not matching up. A lie is an act of defiance against the natural order of things. The truth exists on its own, firm and unshakable, but a lie requires constant maintenance. It's fragile, delicate, always on the verge of collapse. That's why people who lie frequently find themselves in a state of perpetual anxiety, because every lie they tell demands another to cover it up, and eventually they build a web so tangled that they cannot move without getting caught in it themselves. If you want to identify a lie, you must first understand its nature. A liar does not merely say something untrue. They attempt to construct an alternate reality, and in doing so, they must be selective with what they reveal, what they exaggerate, and what they conceal. But no matter how careful they are, the cracks always show. The human mind is not built for deception on a large scale. It requires too much effort, too much cognitive load, and so sooner or later, the instability of the lie reveals itself. Think of it like building a house on a weak foundation. At first glance, everything might appear solid. The walls are straight, the roof is in place, but over time, as the weight of the structure presses down, the cracks begin to form. A slight misalignment in the walls, an unexpected shift in the floor. Eventually, that house collapses under its own weight. A lie works in the same way. The more it is tested, the more the cracks emerge. And if you pay attention, you will see those cracks long before the collapse happens. This is why truth is so powerful. It requires no effort to sustain. It stands on its own, unshaken, needing no reinforcement, no careful selection of words, no rehearsed delivery. It is stable. It is real. A person who lies is always at war with reality. They may be able to deceive in the short term, but over time, the chaos they introduce into the world comes back to them. The instability they create will not just affect their victims, it will consume them as well. You must train yourself to recognize this instability. The moment you feel that deep, unsettling sense that something isn't right, do not ignore it. Do not let politeness override your instincts. A liar depends on your willingness to doubt yourself, to suppress your intuition. The moment you hesitate, they gain control. But if you trust yourself, if you listen to the signals that tell you when something is off, you will begin to see deception for what it is, an unstable, self-destructive force that cannot hold its shape for long. And here's the final truth about lies. They always come to the surface. They might remain hidden for a while. They might survive in the dark corners of manipulation. but eventually reality reasserts itself. The truth is patient. It does not need to rush. It waits for the moment when the lie collapses under its own weight. And when that moment comes, those who have built their lives on deception will have nothing left to stand on. People believe that words are enough to deceive, that if they can craft a lie carefully enough, deliver it smoothly, and maintain a composed expression, they can control reality. But the body is not so easily fooled. The body speaks in ways that words cannot, revealing the truth in subtle, fleeting moments that most people overlook. A liar may rehearse their words, but their body tells a different story. If you know what to look for, you will see the contradiction between what they say and what they truly feel. Micro-expressions are the cracks in the mask. They are the involuntary flashes of emotion that betray a person's true state before they can suppress it. A brief flicker of fear, a tightening of the lips, a subtle downturn of the eyes. These moments last less than a second, but they reveal everything. A person may say they are telling the truth, but if their body momentarily betrays distress, their words become meaningless. The truth leaks out through their expressions, no matter how much they try to contain it. Consider the way tension manifests in the face. When someone is lying, their mind is under stress. They are not just recalling information, they are fabricating it. They are holding multiple conflicting thoughts at once, balancing a fragile reality they have created. This tension often shows in clenched jaws, tightened eyelids, or a frozen, unnatural stillness. Truthful people do not have to work to make their story consistent. It flows freely, their expressions moving naturally with their emotions. But a liar is performing, and in that performance, there are unnatural pauses, subtle hesitations, micro movements that betray their internal struggle. The eyes are another giveaway. You have likely heard the old cliché that liars avoid eye contact, but the reality is more complex. Some liars, knowing this stereotype, will force themselves to maintain steady eye contact, holding it too long, making it uncomfortable, unnatural. But in moments where they are caught off guard, their eyes may dart away as their mind scrambles to reconstruct the falsehood. And that problem is not so small, caused by the liars. They are smart. Many people perceive them, the direction of their gaze, the way their pupils dilate when faced with confrontation, the subtle movements of their eyebrows. These all tell a story far more reliable than words. Watch the hands as well. The body and the mind are connected, and when a person feels stress, they often engage in self-soothing behaviors, rubbing their hands together, touching their neck, adjusting their clothing. These small actions are unconscious attempts to comfort themselves, to regulate the tension that arises from deception. A person telling the truth does not need to fidget, does not need to check their surroundings for validation, but a liar often feels the weight of their own falsehood and seeks to relieve it through movement. Then there is the voice. The voice is a reflection of emotional state, and when someone is lying, it often changes in subtle ways. Their pitch may rise as tension builds. Their words may slow down as they carefully construct their statements, or they may speak too quickly, rushing through their lie to get it over with. Sometimes there is an unnatural monotone, a forced calmness meant to convey confidence, yet it feels hollow, disconnected from real emotion. You must learn to trust your instincts. The human brain is wired to detect deception, to notice these subtle cues even when you cannot consciously explain why something feels off. That unease you feel when listening to a liar is not baseless. It is your subconscious picking up on contradictions between words and behavior. People may lie with their mouths, but their bodies are honest. Their micro-expressions, their nervous gestures, their shifting tones, these are the whispers of truth beneath the noise of deception. If you train yourself to see them, you will no longer rely solely on what people say. You will begin to perceive the reality behind their words. And once you do, Deception will no longer have power over you. Lies are fragile things. They may appear solid when first spoken, but they cannot hold their shape for long. The truth is a single, consistent thread that does not waver, but a lie is an unnatural construction, a patchwork of half-truths, omissions, and fabrications that must be carefully maintained. And the moment you apply pressure, the cracks begin to show. A liar is forced to exist in two realities at once, the one that actually exists and the one they are trying to fabricate. This creates a cognitive strain because they must constantly keep track of what they have said, whom they have told, and how their story fits together. A person telling the truth does not have this burden. They recall events as they happened, naturally and without hesitation. But a liar is engaged in mental gymnastics, constantly monitoring their words, ensuring that their fabricated version of events remains intact. And no matter how skilled they are, they will eventually slip. Listen carefully when someone tells you a story. A lie often contains inconsistencies, small contradictions that reveal its unnatural nature. The details may change upon retelling, or the person may struggle to remember key aspects of their own story. One moment they say they were in one place, later they mention something that contradicts that claim. At first, these inconsistencies may seem minor, easy to overlook, but they accumulate. The more they speak, the more opportunities arise for reality to seep through. A truthful person does not need to think too hard about their account. They recall events as they happened without unnecessary complexity. But a liar often overcomplicates their story, adding unnecessary details to make it feel more believable. They may go into excessive explanations, trying too hard to sound convincing, providing information that was never asked for. This is a sign of someone who is not simply recalling events, but constructing them. Another telltale sign is defensiveness. When questioned, a liar often reacts with irritation, frustration, or even anger. They perceive scrutiny as a threat because they know their deception is at risk of being exposed. Rather than answering calmly, they may try to redirect the conversation, become evasive, or even accuse you of being paranoid or unfair for questioning them in the first place. This emotional reaction is not about being genuinely hurt, it is about self-preservation. A person telling the truth has nothing to fear from further questioning, but a liar knows that every question increases the chance of exposure. Notice also how they respond to direct confrontation. When someone is accused of lying, their reaction can be very revealing. A truthful person will often be confused or even offended, but they will remain open. They will provide clarification, offer evidence, and do so without hesitation. A liar, on the other hand, may become overly defensive or attempt to change the subject. Neither becomes afraid of conflict nor afraid. They may repeat the same phrases as if trying to reinforce their lie through sheer insistence, rather than engaging in an honest discussion. You must learn to trust patterns. A single inconsistency may be explainable, but repeated contradictions are not coincidence. A person who changes their story over time, who avoids direct answers, who over-explains or becomes defensive under pressure, these are signs of deception. Liars rely on the assumption that people do not pay close attention, that inconsistencies will go unnoticed. But if you train yourself to listen, to remember, and to compare statements, you will begin to see where reality and fiction diverge. Inconsistencies are not just mistakes. They are glimpses of the truth trying to break through. A lie may sound convincing in the moment, but truth does not shift. It remains constant, waiting to be uncovered. And if you are patient, if you ask the right questions and listen closely, you will see that no matter how carefully a lie is constructed, it cannot withstand the weight of scrutiny forever.